CBS projects that Senator Barack Obama
and CNN can now project that Barack Obama
and make Barack Obama
Senator Obama.
November 4th was the end of a year-long span of two words, change and hope. This day marked a milestone in the lives of millions of Americans, but for one political party, this night was viewed far differently, as a night of defeat and devastation, and as a night that paved the way for 2 years of rebuilding and recovery. The 2008 election process was set in motion well before the year even began. Presidential candidates were lined up soon after the midterm elections in 2006, and statewide candidates prepared their bids beginning in 2007. Montana saw vacant seats in the offices of Attorney General, State Auditor, and Superintendent of Public Instruction, with Brian Schweitzer running for re-election as governor and Brad Johnson running again for Secretary of State. Many unusual things happened throughout 2008, like the Missoula blogger who encouraged voters to vote for Hillary Clinton in the primary to counter votes for Barack Obama, or the commercial showing our governor taping a federal ID to a clay pigeon. Oh, and there was that one thing about the lawyer from Butte with the eyebrows. It didn't stop once Election Day hit either. The Republican Party witnessed defeats not only in the presidency, but also in the U.S. Senate and House, as well as every statewide office.
But when we look at the statewide races, very disappointing, whether across the board, from governor on down. And so it's very much a mixed bag in that regard. John McCain did carry the state. That was positive. Congressman Rehberg won a convincing re-election victory. That certainly was encouraging. But then we had a lot of other losses. So it's a mixed bag.
Sources from the Montana Republican Party may not have expected victories in the governorship or the U.S. Senate seat, but at the very least, Secretary of State and Attorney General were expected to be won.
Well, I was there on election night at our so-called victory party, and from the moment we walked in, it was pretty discouraging atmosphere. The numbers had started coming in, and they weren't looking very good. And throughout the night, we kept hoping that they would improve. And Brad got really close to catching up to McCullough, and in the end, we just didn't pull through. And I think the hardest part about it was just being there and seeing both the candidates there at the party and just being so graceful in defeat. But it's really hard to see them lose, especially being there every day for the last 6 months, seeing them work.
I was surprised that it was a clean sweep. I was expecting McCain to win Montana, but barely. But I thought we would get one race somewhere. I was expecting either Brad Johnson or Tim Fox or Dwayne Grimes to win, and we didn't get that. We didn't even take control of the State House of Representatives, so I was kind of surprised by how soundly we lost.
The results of the 2008 election caused many Republicans to wonder what went wrong and what could have been done to change that.
I think it was simply a matter of enthusiasm and lack of enthusiasm. If we look at the 2006 election cycle, there in contested legislative races, there were 39,000 more Republican votes cast than there were Democrat votes cast in contested legislative races. That tells me, and I still believe this, that Montanans, even if they don't necessarily consider themselves to be, quote, Republican, they consider themselves to be conservative.
So who's to blame? Some may point fingers, but there are some factors that were seemingly unstoppable during the 2008 cycle.
It was maybe something that was a little bit out of their control with the whole Obama factor. That put us behind a lot of percentage points when it comes to voting.
We didn't have anything exciting. The Democrats had a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of newness to them, whereas the Republicans really kind of had a lot of things that were the same as before, and I don't think the Republicans set themselves apart from the current president and apart from the way that things had been and said, this is what we're going to do to make things better. I don't think all of the candidates had as strong platforms, either on the Republican or the Democratic side, but I think the Democrats had a lot better media.
People now wonder, with Democrats ruling the presidency, the House, and the Senate, what's next? Could there possibly be an outlook for the future?
I think any candidate should talk about what their vision for the future is, what they as a candidate would do to be there for the people of the state of Montana. What can we do to fill needs? And our need in this state is to create jobs and opportunity. What are we going to do for that? What are we going to do to educate our young people? What sort of efforts will we take to lead in that charge? What sort of efforts will we take to feed the hungry and clothe the naked and to care for the most vulnerable amongst us? These are critical issues, and I think these are the sort of things that any candidate should address.
If our folks are out there talking about smaller government, lower taxes, the importance of letting the free enterprise system work, I think that the potential in 10 and 12 is very bright.
You know, we've got to get back to some of the basics that Ronald Reagan taught us about truly fighting hard for lower government and lower taxes, and making sure that both individual rights as well as sanctity of life issues are dealt with in a very positive way. We've also got to reach out to some constituencies that ought to be our constituencies, both African American, Latinos, and other groups that really share values that Republicans stand for. And obviously we've not been getting to those folks and explaining to them what Republicans stand for and Republican politics is all about. So I think there are a number of things like that that we're going to have to do over the next few months as we head into 2010 cycle.
Some have considered Senator Chambliss's runoff election win as an early beginning to the 2010 election cycle. If we accept it for what it is, the outlook is already very good. The Republican Party is on the road to recovery.
But at the end of the day, we're going to win because of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you very much.